right now. My blood oxygen level is really low. So I got to talk to the doctor tomorrow and see what he says and see what we're going to do long term. But yeah, we will see how it goes, sir. Right now we're the typical three middle-aged men trying to figure out technology portion of the show.
Correct. And we're live everywhere, by the way, now.
Yeah, our friend Sam is. Are we on?
We're live everywhere now.
Well, do the intro, man. Well, Sam
waiting for people to hook up, and waiting for Sam to figure this out. Might as well. Right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. Hey, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We have guests on almost every week. We never really get to know them. We jump right into specific subjects, and we never really get to know our guests. Today we're going to do, like I said, something a little bit different. We're actually going to be doing a bit of a mixed bag of finding out a little bit more about our guest this week, Mr. Cinocreative, Mr. Sam Cino, who you still can't hear. So, can you hear us? He can hear us, but we can't hear him. So he's yet to join the live on Instagram. He'll be coming up, hopefully very, very shortly as well. We finally have Mr. Jeff, Messiah Complex Cosplay, back.
Oh,
I'm not going to say back from the dead, but, you know, I guess you were almost dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Jeff, unfortunately, last week was feeling under the weather. Had to miss the podcast. I want to give a bit of a special shout out also to Miss Jennifer here, like Jeff likes to call her, our producer. She's also a little bit under the weather. She had some surgery done earlier this week, so she is recuperating right now. I think it goes without saying, a lot of the stuff that I do on this channel wouldn't happen if it was not for her. So, you know, send her some love and some best wishes. Best wishes to recuperate as quickly as possible.
I'll send her some love, all right.
Yeah, that stash is glorious, my man. You gotta tell us a little bit about
the get stash. Better, Miss Jennifer. Absolutely. Stash is a direct result of cosplay. As all my facial hair decisions are typically a direct result of cosplay. Saturday at Niagara Falls Comic Con, I was the comedian, and Sunday I was Ron Burgundy from the Channel 4 News team. So both of them lend themselves to a mustache. And once I cut it in, I kind of looked at it and I was like, yeah, we're gonna rock this for a while and see what happens. And so far, believe it or not, the response has actually been okay. Like, no one's really come after me for it. So I thought I was going to get just annihilated online and everything else. But no, everybody so far has been like, yeah, no, Sam, still not getting you, bud.
Yeah, that is so weird. So you can hear us through your headphones, but your mic's not working. That's so weird. So,
Sam, when you go down and you hit settings, like in StreamYard itself, and you go to audio, what's it showing you? Is it? I know you can't.
You should be able to pick what microphone you're using.
Yeah.
Actually, Sam, you also have a chat. We have a chat between just of us that you can actually.
Okay.
Hey,
all right.
We've got audio.
Yes, and
the one button I didn't try.
It's So so Megan is saying that they can hear you on Instagram, so that's good. Tans is saying it's a no for me to the stash. Yeah, I don't care. White Mike is working here. Can hear me on Instagram. Okay, all right. So Sam, we got you on Instagram. That's cool, and now we got you here on StreamYard. So I think we're good to go.
Excellent. Welcome to the Geek Boutique, Mr. Sam Cino. How are you?
I am wonderful, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here. I know, Jeff, you're dealing with the health things. I heard you going over that, so hope you feel better soon.
Thanks, man.
I have a friend, my friend, one of my best friends and his wife, they went to Costa Rica for a little vacation. They came back. He is fine. She was very sick for a week and a half, and she's still sick. Yeah. She's got a heart monitor deal going on now. Otherwise, she's okay because they've been going to work and everything. But other than that, she's got to wear that for a bit. So after I leave here with you guys, I got to give her a ring and just see what's going on.
What she's doing and what's going on. Yeah. Damn. Everybody's getting sick all up in this place.
It's messed up.
That's super fun. I love it. It's the best.
Oh my God. Okay. Sorry guys. I don't know who this person is, but somebody, it's Jordan. Jordan Extreme. Wow. Cancel culture has gone too far. People don't feel comfortable roasting that rat growing on Jeff's face. Thanks, Jordan. So for those of you that don't see this, if you were watching on YouTube, you would see these comments pop up.
That rat growing on Jeff's face.
Hey, listen, I want to talk about Niagara Comic Con for 5 minutes because you didn't get to tell us about it last week because, Jeff, you were away. Sam, I believe you were there as well, weren't you?
Yes, I help out there.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know what I don't have a title because I'm not like officially there, but I do a lot of things for them. So I was there. I just didn't get to play. I got to watch everyone play and go, oh.
Yep. Yeah. As soon as I walked in, Sam was working sorry, I'm on YouTube today. You better be sorry, Jordan. Not just because you're on YouTube. Don't ditch the stash, man. I thought you'd be on my side on this, Jordan. I'm a little bit upset. I'm not going to lie. I'm crying on the inside for sure. Yeah, as soon as I walked into the con, Sam was one of the first guys I saw because he was working like the ticket booth. If you hadn't pre-bought your tickets, you can go to Sam.
So Sam, you didn't get to really cosplay at the show then?
No, I had it packed in my duffel bag, which was actually under the counter I was standing at. So I was like, okay, one of these hours I'm going to escape. And then so Sunday rolled around and I thought we closed at 5, but we actually closed at 4. So around 3 o'clock, I'm like, I can go like get changed and everything, but no, because they're like, oh, surprise, we close at 4. I'm like, oh, that's not a lot of time to have fun.
Every time I saw him, he's like, yeah, I got my Punk Spider-Man, which is great, by the way. His Punk Spider-Man is awesome.
It really is. Actually, it's the thumbnail of tonight's show.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Oh, sweet.
He's like, yeah, I got it packed. Every day I saw him, he's like, yeah, I got it packed. Yeah, I'll put it on at some point. Yeah, it's here. I'll put it on at some point. And then he's in 3 days, he just never.
Never happened.
So you would walk away, and then like my boss would come over, like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, okay, sure. I'll go do whatever it was.
Yeah. Hilarious.
All work, no play.
Mm-hmm.
Makes Sam a dull
boy. Sam a dull boy. Yeah, that's right. But overall, Sam, since you got to see it sort of from a different perspective, because I never really get a chance to talk to like people that are actually working the con. Like we've had Rob Bellamy on and he runs CK Expo. So it was good to kind of pick his brain about putting a con together and such. But we don't often get to talk to a guy that's literally like working, like volunteer working at a con. So what's that like for you? Like, how do they schedule you specifically for specific tasks? Is it you just volunteer and you show up and they just point, you go do that? Like, what is it like working behind the scenes? Do you get to rub shoulders with the celebrity sometimes? Like, how does it work?
So I'll give you my rundown of how I got involved in there because it's kind of evolved from what I first did. So,
right.
10 years ago, I want to say at this point, I was involved. For those who don't know who I am, I referee independent wrestling as well. So I knew the owners through there because they were hooked up with my boss of the one wrestling company I was working for. I was doing the photography there. So they brought in Bret Hart to do autographs, pictures, and everything. They didn't have a photographer for the con at the time. So they said, can you come do photos at Bret Hart's panel? So I said, okay, sure. So I did that. Then I just networked that way. So every year it was always, can you work with this person? Can you work with this person? So I went from photographer to celebrity handler to like ticket guy to everything else.
Jack of all trades at that point. Sorry, I am going to throw in here. I believe it's Miley, which is Tana's daughter. Says Grandpa Jeff calling the mustache a rat is an insult to rats.
Nice.
It grows more as you hate it. It grows more. Like it actually fills in more with the hate.
It grows in power.
That's right.
As you make fun of it.
I wish I could grow a friggin' like giant stash like that.
Oh, I think for you should cut in like the handlebar. I think you.
It's funny you should say that. I've done the handlebars for like Movember a few years ago.
Yeah. No,
it's a very thin handlebars.
Really that's all right. So then, Sam, what's the ultimate? I don't want to say goal, but what would you like? Would you like to get into a point where you're like at the management side of things, like actually helping to run the con specifically, like from more of like I don't know if that particular con's run like in a board per se, or if it's one guy that runs it, because I know some of the cons work differently. But ultimately, what would you want to see out of that as your role with obviously keeps deepening as you're like you're saying, it keeps evolving like kind of as you're there. Where do you want to eventually end up with that, or do you not really think about that?
I haven't thought about it too much. I like what I do now because it gives me the flexibility to like see my friends for the 5-10 minutes that I can and things like that. And I've watched, James and Chris. They run the show. They're two partners and they got their other business people, but they're the two main guys. So I've seen them run it, and I was like, I don't want that stress because they got to deal with the flights of everybody and all that, logistic information and hotels and all that stuff. So. Power to them. I don't think I could do that. I couldn't handle it.
No, that's fair. So
Yeah.
you'd rather be just boots on the ground and
Yeah.
getting
I'm like
your
the
hands
middle
dirty with
guy.
it.
I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
end up like middle management. I'm not management there at all in any sense.
Man.
But I mean, even like for my day job, it's like the middle's good because I can see what's up, but I can see what's down. I can tell people on down what's up.
Now here we go. See, Tim's got my back. As a guy who has a hard time growing facial hair, I think it's a damn fine stash. Thank you, Tim. Black Captain Kirk got my back up here. That's great. Yeah, that's right. It is mostly dudes that like it and girls that don't, and that's fine. I'm not
Which
here
is kind of ironic, isn't it?
A little bit. Sam, can we unpack the independent wrestling scene a little bit?
Absolutely. What would you like to
Because
know?
I'm fascinated by it. I understand it's part and parcel of the business, but I also get the impression that it's like a 99.9, like hardly, like it's very, very difficult, obviously, to get to the show, quote unquote. And this seems to be sort of where you have to cut your teeth to get there. But it also seems like a lot of the guys that are cutting their teeth in these smaller independent leagues never really graduate even up to like a Ring of Honor, say, let alone like an AEW or WWE. Has that been your impression as you've worked these independent circuits as well? Or have you seen some real talent come through that has moved on to bigger and better things?
You've got it, but also on the flip side, there have been lots of guys who have made it. So I've been doing it for we'll just say 14-ish, 13-ish years. I got involved with it right after high school and first year of college and everything. So this actually happened in my college library. I was actually just reading the WWE website, and the one guy in my course leans over and he goes, "I know that guy." Like he points at the screen. He's like, "I know that guy." So I was like, "Wait, what?" So I picked his brain, and he's like, "Yeah, he's actually from here. He wrestled here, wrestled there." And he had just signed his contract. So that was like the big news of his name's Sean Spears. He's his wrestling name. So he got signed to WWE, and this guy, I think his name's Larry. He said, like, I know him. We were neighbors or went to school or whatever. So I ended up emailing Sean Spears. I still have the email saying, like, I live in Thorold. I know you're from St. Catharines. Where do you go to wrestle? Like, because I didn't know anything. So he was kind enough to point me in the direction of, you got to find a good wrestling school who's not going to rip you off, and they're going to train you properly. And from there, you just kind of go up and around Ontario, basically. So you wrestle around here. If you can get booked out west or out east, that's like the goal. So it is cutting your teeth, as you put it. And then, like,
Nice.
as you go and I want to say get more experience, you can put in a resume to WWE or Ring of Honor or All Elite Wrestling is the new thing.
Yeah, how does that work? I mean, do you have to like? I mean, so you start as a wrestler in your local scene, and you know you're working your ass off, and then what? You have to apply to these other organizations, or that they go around scouting the different local wrestling scenes? Like, how does it work? Like, how does someone actually go from your local small time wrestling to the big time? Like, how does that path happen?
Either one of those could happen. So you could be scouted. So back in the day, WWE did send scouts to minor, smaller shows. So like guys like Jim Ross, he was the commentator. He was a talent scout. He was the head of talent relations for many years. So he would actually go to these shows, and maybe not himself, but other people would go, and they would get the contact info of the person they like and say, like, hey, we saw you do your thing. We think you're really talented. Here's our information. We would like to, consult with you, contact you, see what happens. So that's one method of doing it. I don't think they do it a whole lot anymore, but I'm not a super expert on how the scouting process works nowadays. But more or less, it's you do apply. So you make up your resume just like any job and say, I've wrestled for these places. I speak X amount of languages. I know certain like show business things. So like what, and then you apply just like any job. They'll put you in the talent pool. If they pick you for a tryout, I believe you have to go down to Florida to the Performance Center outside Tampa, and they give you a tryout, which consists of a lot of cardio and seeing your grasp of wrestling moves, I want to say, and if you know the basics, because if you don't know the basics, you can't do anything. Because everyone thinks like wrestling, it's just wrestling, right? It's like, no, okay, it is performance, and you are taking that person's life in your hands when you are wrestling. Like if you're going to slam the guy, you can't drop him on his head. Even though it looks like you're dropping him on his head, you cannot physically like injure the guy because he has to go home to his family. Right? So they want to see how good you are and how safe you are, I want to say.
And WWE specifically, well, I guess back in the WWF days, I guess they had their own development league as well, didn't they?
Yes.
Or a couple of different development leagues, I believe. Did the big guys all have their own development leagues still, their own farm teams, let's say?
WWE not so much anymore, but they do keep an eye on certain, I want to say the minor leagues there, so the independents there. They have the performance center, so once you do send in your application, they'll sign you a developmental contract, and you'll go live in Florida, and you'll train at the performance center every day. So I don't know exactly what they go over because I haven't looked into it too much, but I know they go over drills every day and you're working out every day by a certain time. You have promo class, so they teach them how to be more comfortable in front of a camera. They have this is new in the past, I want to say 5, 6, 7 years maybe. They have a new financial management class because a lot of the people they were getting, like, they weren't savvy to like business sense. So they show them how to manage their money. So if they do ever leave wrestling, they have something to fall back on. Because if you look retrospectively at the guys from the 80s, they just had all their money and then they had no money because they were buying whatever they're buying. So Ric Flair always said like he had like 15 fur coats, and like one of the stories he has told many times is he was out at a hotel with Dusty Rhodes and like they were buddies, but on TV they hated each other. So Dusty saw a fur coat he liked in a department store and he bought it. So Ric Flair goes, well, he can't have a nicer coat than I do. So he went in the store and he bought one. And then the next day or like later in the same, Dusty went back, he bought a second one. And Rick's like, well, no, you can't one up me. So he bought, and they would just be silly like that. So they teach them finance to not be a little silly like that.
Nah, yeah, exactly. How would you describe your refereeing style, Sam? Are you more of an Earl Hebner or Bryce Remsburg?
That is the name. Yeah, so I'll introduce those two guys. So Earl Hebner.
Well, I definitely know who Earl Hebner is.
I think all the Canadians that watched wrestling in the 90s know who Earl is. Of a certain.
Yeah.
He's the screw job guy.
Yeah,
right?
He's the Montreal screw job. That's right. Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm one or the other. I kind of just made it my own. Like I don't want that to come off as egocentric or anything, but it's like you take little, and wrestlers do this too. They'll see something they like, they'll take little bits from that guy, little bits from this guy, little bits from what this person's doing, and they put their own spin on it. So that's what I try to do. And I never got into it to be like some famous guy. I just wanted to. It was just fun, and it's like, oh, I like wrestling. All right, let's go. And so I want to say I'm in the middle of those two gentlemen. Very talented guys, both on TV.
He's a mashup. If those guys had a baby, it would be Sam.
Hey, Bryce does not have hair, so
that's right. Going through some comments, Myers Corp said, "This is directed to you, Sam. You make our job as volunteers a lot easier. Keep up the good work." Myers Corp here has joined us on Instagram. He was working Kevin Nash's line.
My man.
At the con.
All
yeah.
Right.
So he was there when we walked by in our Anchorman group when Mick Foley and Nash came out and got pictures with us. So that's why he was joining the crew.
I can jump in real quick just before you move on.
Yeah,
go. I have a Kevin Nash story from that.
Yeah, of course.
So one of the guys I met through wrestling, Rico Montana, I think he's a retired wrestler now. He is a personal trainer. He has a fitness company, that sort of thing. So I've been on one of the meal plans that he put together and a workout plan for the past 9 months, however long it's been, since Thanksgiving. And I've lost and I've maintained losing 20 pounds.
Yay!
So in the lunchroom, I was eating, and Santino Morella was there, and I overheard him talking about his weight loss. And I picked up on what he had mentioned, so I said, "Are you a Rico Montana guy?" And he goes, "You know Rico?" So I'm like, "Yeah." So we chatted a little bit there. So then I text Rico saying like, "Hey, Santino says hey." He's like, "Hey, cool. Tell Kevin Nash I say hi." So I went over to Kevin's table. I go, "Rico Montana says hi," and Kevin like slapped the table, and he's like, "That's my guy. I got to call him later." So I text Rico, I'm like, "You know Kev? He said he's gonna call you." He's like, "Wonderful." So it's
hilarious. Everyone knows everybody. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kevin was surprised. He was a really nice dude.
He's
for sure.
Chill.
Yeah.
All 7 feet of him. He's very chill.
Yeah.
He is not a small guy, that's for sure.
No, he's a big dude. That Valkyrie girl, I don't understand the mustache, but as long as it makes you happy, it does. Shaw Cosplay says the mustache looks great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Which cons are you going to next? Is asking Shaw Cosplay. Before we get too far, guys, I do want to just break in really quickly because we usually cover this at the top. You can listen to us, by the way, if you don't want to watch our pretty faces here for the whole time, and I understand that. I mean,
Gasp.
Exactly. But who wants to look at this dying rat on my face the whole time? You can listen to us on all the major platforms, including Spotify. We are there. If you just go on to Google and go to Geek Boutique Podcast and you Google search that, it will be one of the first options you have. Or you can go directly to our website, which is the geekboutique.podbean.com. And you can actually listen to the podcast there as well. But you also know, as Jordan did when his comment from YouTube, dying rabbit. Thank you. That's good. Yes. Emaciated squirrel, whatever you want to call it. You can watch us live on Facebook. You can watch us live on YouTube. And of course, you can join us live here on Instagram as we go through that.
Before we get to the next Gone question, Sam, why don't you quickly tell us a little bit about your first cosplay experience? For those who don't know, Sam is not just an amateur wrestler or amateur referee wrestler. He is a cosplayer. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your first cosplay experience. How did you even get into cosplay?
I love this story because I think Jeff was actually there, and I think Ed was there too. I didn't know them at the time, but I think I saw them.
Didn't know us, but knew of us because our shit ass reputation preceded us.
This was a little bit after the Bret Hart Comic-Con, so they had me doing the front door thing, and some Judge Dredd cosplayers walked by, and I was like, I did like double take, like, whoa, that's impressive. So I told whoever was working with at the table, I was like, hey, I just need a sec. I want to talk to that guy real quick. So I run over to him, and Jeff may know him. It was Judge Brown.
Yep.
Max Savage on Facebook. So I run over him. So I'm like, hey man, I just watched the movie. So I'm like, where do you get all this? He does his best Judge Dredd voice. Well, and he pulls out this notepad and he writes down like the Facebook group. He's like, you got to go here and join the Facebook group and just ask in there, and they'll direct you to who's selling what. So that was my first experience, and I got my Judge Dredd through that group, and that was my first costume. And I think we all suited up together. There were 4 of us or 3 of us. So it was myself, Judge Brown, and Judge Jeffrey Lawrence. Jeff knows him.
I love Jeffrey Lawrence. He's one of my all-time favorite humans to run to at a con, for sure.
So the 3 of us, I think it was GenreCon and Guelph. It was like our first actual like trio meetup, and that was a lot of fun. So, and it's funny because the 3 of us get off the elevator and we're just like, yeah. So many of us, when we started a cosplay, like my first cosplay was like just this patchwork pieced together Value Village army surplus bullshit. And this dude's first one comes out, looks like he walked off the set of the movie Dredd with Carl Urban. Like have you seen his Judge Dredd? It's his Judge costume anyway. Oh, dude, it's sick. It's absolutely sick. Kenneth says I'm a mean judge, but I think she has me confused with Lawrence.
No, she's got a few pictures of all the judges arresting her, and it's
every show.
It makes her very, very happy to get on her knees in front of 5 dudes. So I don't. It's just you can see she's trying not to smile. I don't shoot the messenger. I'm just it's absolutely the truth. Yeah, it's incredible, says Marianne. Yeah, your Judge Dredd is I guess it's Judge Sino, right? Yeah, you're just.
It is because your badge does say Sino.
Of course.
I was like, I got to be myself for this.
That's right. Of course.
We did one show up in, I think it was Markham. It was just like a little card show, and it was winter. So winter in the Judge Dredd suit is great because it's 90 degrees whenever you wear it. So the fire department was there, and they had the like, make sure you install your smoke alarms flyers. So I held one up. It's on my Instagram. It's me holding the thing like, Inspector Smoke Alarms. It's the law. I'm like, how can we not take a photo with this?
Of course. It's just funny that we all start out with humble beginnings, and then Sam just comes out of the gate like, boom, here's my legit judge costume that looks like I just walked off the set.
My wallet cries every time I look at it.
The Valkyrie girl says, I remember your group, so began Sam Interactions, which has made every con better since. Aw, see?
Oh, I have a Megan story. Because Megan and the KW girls are the best. So they were the actual first friends I made in the con circuit outside of the Dredd group, because we went to Kitchener Con and they were all there, and I was like, what is this? So they're like, a group of 5, we do Disney and all the various princesses. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. And I just chatted with them for the whole day. And then Dadpool came over and he had the car. I'm like, what is this? He's like, this is my car. I'm like, this is amazing. So that KW Guelph group was like my first friends outside of the Dredd group. And
Awesome.
now I then I met Jeff because you were friends with them, and now I'm on this show, and I know everybody, and I miss all my friends because it's been 2 years.
It's a vicious cycle, which is a good lead into the question that we got earlier, which is what are the next cons for all of us? JS, I know you're not a big con guy, so would you say your next one is FanX? Is that going to be
For sure, it's going to be my next one. It should have been Niagara, but we've had the discussion like a million times now. So
I know we missed you. Hopefully, we can get you out next year for sure.
Yeah, FanX is going to be my next con for sure. Saturday, Sunday for sure. I don't know about Friday, maybe.
Friday.
I took the day off on Friday, so I might show up on Friday, but I don't know. Friday, Saturday, Sunday for sure.
Fair enough. What about you, Sam? When's your next con?
Probably FanX if I take time off work. I got to finish a bunch of things. I just saw Frightmare in the Falls, which is another Niagara Falls Comic-Con offshoot. They're having Michael Biehn come for a signing for that. So I saw that today. I was like, I got to finish my Johnny Ringo real quick, which I was supposed to finish for next week, but I think the event where I was using it for next week has been postponed or canceled. So at least I have a little bit more time. But if I could meet Michael Biehn just as Johnny Ringo, that'd be sweet.
No, absolutely.
And then have him sign my DVD of The Rock, because that's like one of my favorite movies with Sean Connery and Nick Cage.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Can I give a quick shout out to my friend Justin in the Instagram chat? He's Nards69. He's my best friend.
Of course, man.
So he is
Justin.
tuning in.
Thanks for joining us today, buddy.
Tuning in, Nards.
Nice. Forest City Comic Con for me. They reached out to me last week and asked if I could be a guest judge for the cosplay contest and such. So that's June 25th here in London. So that's just in like a week and a half or whatever. So hopefully I'm feeling well enough to go out and do that. And then after that, I would assume it would also be, there's not much goes on in July as far as cons go. It's a very,
everyone's in cottage.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely cottage time. So probably Fan Expo after that, and then probably Hamilton Comic Con after that one. So I won't be able to make London Comic Con. I'm going to be out of town when London Comic Con's on. My home con. I won't be here for it, but Hamilton Comic Con the next week. I think it's September 16th, 17th, and I'm going to be up at the cottage, so I'm not going to be around. But I think Hamilton Comic Con is the weekend after that. So I'm definitely going to check out Hamilton Comic Con for sure. So
I'll probably be there working because that's another.
Because it's the same people, right? Yeah. Same people that run Niagara Falls. Yeah. July is Anime North. Oh, so no cons. Okay, good. Thanks, Daneth. I appreciate that. That's good. Because I'm not a weeb, and I'm not going to the weeb con for sure.
I might be going to Anime North as well. I need to.
Someone's a weeb.
Nah, not even.
A weeb.
A weeb.
Yeah. Oh, it's a derogatory term for people that are into anime.
Okay.
Is it
like an acronym for something?
It used to, weeabo was the original term, and it just meant that someone that was into Japanese culture was a weeabo, and then it got shortened to weeb, and it kind of became like the kids that are super into anime. They get called weebs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Megan says we should come to Pirate Fest on the Civic Holiday weekend. That sounds fun. I actually been looking at that.
I'm trying to be inclusive. Guys,
I'm going to be back home that weekend, so
I got to take a quick bathroom break. So if you guys can talk amongst yourself, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys.
Bathroom break.
Don't frown at me.
Bathroom break.
You see him with a big frown on his face?
Bathroom break in the middle. Stop drinking friggin' rum, bud.
Shout out to my buddy Andrew Morgan on the Instagram chat. Thanks, Andrew, for tuning in.
Morgan Custom Woodcrafts.
That is him.
He's Aha. Loki Quim Cosplay says, I'm trying to be inclusive. I'm assuming you're talking about the Anime North comment. We can see Jeff is very passionate about Anime North. I had a bunch of questions already pre-set up, but we're going to skip ahead a little bit. Obviously you've told us a little bit about your first cosplay experience. Do you have any kind of a dream build, like a dream cosplay that you've been wanting to put together either for years or maybe something since yesterday? I don't know. Your ultimate cosplay, what's that?
My list of projects keeps getting longer and longer.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it? I mean,
I'll see something, like I'm sure the other people that are watching have done this too, where they're like, I want to do this. And then they like start working on it, and then something else pops up. They're like, I want to do that. And they start working on that. Like, I should really finish this. So I have that problem as well. So for the past 4 years, I've been working on Hang on, let me rewind a sec. So there's the band, heavy metal band, Amon Amarth. They have an album called Berserker. And on the cover art for Berserker is like this Viking warrior guy. And I have been building that costume for the past like 4 years here and then. And then COVID happened, so I'm like, well, there's no cons. I don't really need to work on this right now. Now we're back, so I'm like, oh, I should probably finish that. So it's 99% done. I just got to get a pair of boots, and the boots I want come from Ukraine, and that's kind of stuck at the moment. So
slightly problematic, yeah, of course.
Yeah, slightly. So that's like the big one I've been working on for the past 3-4 years. I've been working on a Craven the Hunter for a while. And I finally, I kind of got it finished, but I couldn't get like the head of the vest right. So I'm like, I can't wear this. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. So I need to like retool that.
Because the head is it a lion or a tiger?
Like
I forget.
It's got like half on each side. I forget who it was. He had one at Fan Expo, and I was like looking at that. So I kind of picked his brain how he did that. So I'm like, okay, I should try and revisit that at some point.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys get to the question in the comments or no?
We did not know.
Okay. So there's a question. What's the best way to meet cosplayers at cons? Always feels awkward just walking up and saying hi. My recommendation to you is just the shared fandoms, right? So if you see a cosplayer wearing a cosplay from a fandom that you really enjoy, you're not necessarily going up to talk to them about the cosplay. In a lot of cases, you're going up to them to interact about the fandom. And that's why I always caution cosplayers about wearing stuff from a fandom they don't know anything about just because maybe they look like the character or whatever, because you're going to kind of ruin someone's day by doing that, because they're going to want to talk about your character and the fandom that your character's from. So if you want to go up to a cosplayer and ask them questions about their cosplay and how they did it and where they got it or whatever, obviously that's an in as well. But we're all there because we're geeks and we love geek shit. So if you go up to talk to somebody about your shared geek shit experience, if you're a Trekkie and you see me in a Star Trek uniform, come talk to me about Star Trek, and that will start to build the conversation and build the network. And then next thing you know, you've got a circle of cosplay friends and you're all doing crazy shit like Channel 4 news team and stuff. So yeah.
As silly as this is going to sound, I will say cosplay. Put a costume together and just go to a con and hang out with people. That's how I met all you guys.
Yep.
Literally. To be fair, I met a lot of you guys here on the podcast, but I've met a lot of you folks, through actual cons, right? I met you at a con.
You did.
It's a tiny little con, but
Yeah, it was okay. We still met. And,
those are some of the best ones.
It's built this wonderful relationship that we currently have.
Yeah, I thought maybe a little bit of stretch there. Wonderful relationship, but
frown at me for having to go pee, for God's sakes. Thanks for the advice. You are welcome, sir. There's our friend, Cutie, Canadian Comic Cutie. So many cosplays, a little time. Yeah, well, we don't all do 100 cosplays in a year, Cutie.
More like 365 cosplays.
Whatever it is.
Plus 20 in a year.
Yeah. Well, because you got to get all the holidays in there too, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. We got to do like the 14 days of, I don't know.
Whatever it is. That's right.
14 days of St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. Yes. The 14 days in February for Sir Valentine's Day. She's counting them down with cosplays every day.
Jordan here on the YouTube chat is saying that would have been Frank Karachi at FanX, I think. I'm not sure. Jordan, I'm not sure what part of the conversation you're talking about.
I'm assuming he means the Craven the Hunter. There's a few guys that have been at FanX with Craven.
Yes.
Well, but it might have been Frank. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
13 days of Halloween and 12 days of Christmas. There you go, Cutie. See, I knew there was something. So that's just 25 cosplays just for 2 holidays alone.
For 2 days a year.
I may have 25 cosplays in total that I've done in the 6 years I've been doing this. So
I don't have 25 cosplays.
Yeah. And some of them are one-offs that I'll just never have or never do again. And some of them I've never worn anywhere at all ever.
The one work Christmas party, we all had like themes for each team, so everyone was Where's Waldo. So it was a different offshoot. I'm like, I'm never going to wear this again.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I still have it.
Yeah, we did an archer group, and I put a Krieger together, and I wore it for that archer group, and it's hanging over my cosplay stuff. It's never been worn again. It will probably never get worn again. It was fun to do, though. I have no complaints.
I put together a full. It's funny. I was talking with my buddy Rob about this week. I put together a full Ghost outfit from the Call of Duty games, and haven't worn it once. Don't play the games. It was all, hey, let's do a Call of Duty group. Okay, cool. Go up, buy all the stuff, and then
and then
Wah,
it's
Been
still
sitting there. Yeah. Wah, wah.
sitting there. Yeah,
Price is Right
Yeah.
fail sound.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Bum, 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 bum. Meow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know who it is that was saying this in the comments, but about having I think it was Marianne. Absolutely love have 4 half-finished projects. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are in that same situation where we start on something and then it
Something
either
else comes
just
along.
falls into that crack of nowhere land and it never gets done, or like you say, something else happens and then you got to take care of other stuff, and then that cosplay that was supposed to take you a couple of weeks to build takes you, 4 years to make.
Or a property comes out and then you get 8,000 messages saying, hey, you should do this thing. And then you're like, well, I guess I should do that thing. And then I'm doing that thing. And then I remember, I'm like, oh, I had these 3 other things that I was building or putting together at the time. Especially when you're getting bullshit like Anchorman. Do you know how many fucking Value Villages and Goodwills and Talises I hit looking for a burgundy suit and the proper tie and belt and everything and white dress shoes for Ron Burgundy? I spent more on gas than I did for that eventually for what I paid for that cosplay. God damn. Awful. So
where did you end up finding the suit?
I found 2 pieces of it on Poshmark, believe it or not, and then I found the jacket at a Value Village. So
Poshmark.
Poshmark, it's an app where you can sell your used clothes like through the internet type of thing. So someone had a red vest and a red pair of pants that were my size on Poshmark, and they were selling them for like, I don't know, $20 or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, perfect, that's good.
Jennifer, you should look that up. We're looking for some.
I've got some great
thrift
deals
clothing.
off Poshmark. Yeah, no, I've got some great deals off Poshmark. There's some really cool stuff on there.
Yeah.
Yep, I have one that's been sitting for 6 years, says Cutie. Yeah, man. That's the cosplay life, right? And I've been there too with JS. You hit a wall on something where you've got the next big thing you have to do and you're intimidated by trying to start it, or you start it and it turns out like shit, so you want to redo it, but then you lost confidence in trying to redo it, and then you're second guessing the whole damn thing, and next thing you know, it's 3 years later and it's still sitting half finished and you're just looking at it like it's the bane of your existence, right? So
that's my craven right now. I look at it
yeah.
like, I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the white whale in the closet.
That's the cosplay life, man. That's for sure. Shifting gears a little bit, though, I understand, even though you haven't watched today's episode, damn you, Sam, but Strange New Worlds. I wore this specifically for a reason for today. I wanted to talk a little bit about Strange New Worlds. We do usually talk about Strange New Worlds a little bit every single podcast.
So we do, because it's just been so fucking good.
Yeah, it's so good.
I do want to make a point here.
Yes.
Because everybody's been fucking jokers, making joke about Captain Pike's hair and memes and the whole deal.
I get so many memes sent to me, dude.
His hair was under control this week.
Mm-hmm.
His hair was under control this week. Now, I don't know if it's because it was an episode that was filmed out of sequence with the other episodes,
right?
But he didn't have the giant hair this week.
No, it's true.
I specifically was looking for the.
I'm going to need so much hairspray, man. So much hairspray when I do this cosplay.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can do that. I can't do that.
Well, I mean, you could wig it up and do it. For sure you could.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your impression? So we've been talking a lot about Strange New Worlds. We do talk a lot about Star Trek on there. I mean, look at his handle, for goodness sakes. It's JS Belanger 1701. I'm wearing a Pike shirt. So, I mean, we're obviously big Star Trek super nerds, but other than, I would probably say, Lower Decks, none of us can seem to be like aligned on one particular show that kind of shines over all of us. Some of us like Discovery, some of us don't. Some of us like DS9 way more than it deserves. Some of us don't. We shit talk Enterprise a lot, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but Strange New World seems to be the like the one ring, like it's brought us all together and in the darkness bound us. Like it's just so much better, seemingly, than anything that's come out basically since TNG. Is that, where are you on the whole new Trek bandwidth, and are you with us on, Strange New Worlds is up here and then everything else is kind of.
So far, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Disclaimer, I have to say, like, I've only seen TNG. I've seen all the movies except Nemesis. I have the collection. I've seen all the movies except Nemesis, but I've seen TNG. I have not seen the original series. Sorry.
How do I kick this guy off the stream?
I don't know. Is there? Suddenly I'm sad.
I'm
sad his audio works now.
I've seen all of Disco. I've seen everything of Picard. So I like all Trek. So soon when I do get around to those other series, I'm probably gonna like them too. But
have you checked out?
Great.
Have you checked out Lower Decks?
Not yet. No, it's on the list.
So good.
Yeah,
so good.
It's the cartoon.
It's
one,
not
right?
Strange New Worlds, but it's very, very good. It takes like an episode or two. Yeah, it takes an episode or two to get you there, but as soon as you're in, you're really in. Unless your name is Megan, who got a season and a half into it and gave up on it because she hated it so much. But that's, I know.
Yeah.
She likes everything else Trek, so I guess we can't give her too much shit for it. But Strange New World seems to be the one that's bridging the gap for everybody for the new Trek stuff. Even if you hate Discovery and Picard, and there's a lot of people that hate Discovery and Picard, it seems like Strange New Worlds is the one that's everyone's able to get behind.
When Picard like season 2 came out, the first like 2 episodes, I was like, "This is so good," and then.
But it really picked up again in the last 2.
Yeah, the last 2 was like, and I was like, "Okay, we're back." Good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit Picard, the middle of the season was a little. It's like, okay, are we gonna, is something gonna happen here?
How many episodes can you be in jail for?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. I agree. I 100% agree with that. I am not a big fan of Discovery so far right now. I know Tim hates when I talk about this, but season 4 of Discovery has just. It just kills me how the show could have been so good in their first 2 seasons. Because let's be honest, Trek usually is not. The Trek's first and second seasons are usually meh.
It's the world building and setting.
Yeah, Discovery was good off the bat, but then now it's like crashing and burning for me. So anyway,
I did not enjoy the Klingon story in season 1. Like whenever it was a Klingon scene, like I cannot tolerate this. It was just jarring to me. Like I just didn't.
So the change in the look, you mean, or just the story arc itself?
Just the story.
Oh, okay.
I liked everything else they were doing. I'm like, okay, it's like before original series, kind of same time. So like that was neat. And then, but the Klingon like politics stuff, I was like, I do not care about this part of the story.
So how much do you think of that early Discovery and then now Strange New Worlds? How much do you think is going over your head, the fact that you haven't watched the original series? Do you feel like you're missing out on maybe some of the little tongue-in-cheek, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge stuff? Or do you feel like having seen the movies, you're pretty good with what's going on?
Yeah, I think I am getting most of it. Like, and you have to, like, you don't have to watch season 2 of Discovery to get Strange New Worlds, but they do reference it in almost every episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Pike shows up in season 2. I'm like, this guy is great, and Anson Mount is awesome. If you haven't seen the show Hell on Wheels, he's the lead in that. It's a cowboy railroad show, so that's real good. It's one of my favorite shows. He's the lead in there. So if you're in the Facebook group Star Trek shitposting, there's a lot of memes about that because now people are just realizing like that's him in that show as well. And Cole Meany is also in it. He's like the evil railroad tycoon guy.
Chief O'Brien.
Yeah,
absolutely, Chief O'Brien, the greatest Starfleet officer of all time.
Yeah, so now they're photoshopping like him onto the Enterprise, yelling at Pike in his Western costume, sort of thing. So I'm like, this is my humor because I've seen both shows.
He was also Black Bolt on the Inhuman show that lasted half a season, and then spoiler alert, had a little Anson Mount.
No,
Captain
that
Pike.
Was him?
Absolutely. You've watched Doctor Strange 2, right? Have you watched Doctor Strange 2 yet?
I have not seen Doctor Strange 2 yet.
I haven't.
Never mind.
But I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Is it him? Is it him? Yeah. Is it him that's Black Bolt in Doctor Strange 2?
It's him that's Black Bolt.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. Huh.
Yep.
They've really crossed a lot of check marks off of their list of I'm a nerd. Here are all the shit I want to do with this Marvel property and all this multiverse stuff because they've just been going bonkers. I mean, Reed Richards. I mean, come on, it was friggin'
fan casting.
This guy was fan casted since the Marvel.
Basically, since the last movie did poorly. Ever since then, it's been like, well, it's got to be this guy. It's got to be Krasinski. That's that guy, right?
There's some intern somewhere just scrolling social media saying, "What do the people like? Do this,"
right?
Like just pulling off like,
because I don't think they mind doing like fan service if it's going to be something small like that. I know Disney is categorically against bowing to fan service when it comes to like a bigger media role for whatever weird reason. They don't want to bow to fan pressure and such. But which is why, by the way, Lucy Lawless is not going to appear in The Mandalorian because fans wanted her to essentially replaced Gina Carano as Cara Dune, and the fans rallied for it so hard. Lucy Lawless had to make a post on social media saying, I was actually in talks to join a Star Wars property, but because you guys made it seem like a fan casting, now Disney won't actually cast me in it because they don't want to seem like they're bowing to fan pressure for this kind of stuff. So yeah, sometimes it works, guys, and sometimes it doesn't. So be careful on your fan casting fantasies because it doesn't always. Yeah.
Yeah, for wrestling.
Well, that's why we're here, man. Tell us the story.
So this is not my story. This is just what happened in pulp culture. So Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out. So Dave Bautista as Drax.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes back to wrestling as like a comeback special. He's like, hey, I'm in this movie. You know, everyone when their movie comes out, they're going all talk shows and everything. So Dave comes back to wrestling. So I'm like, okay, and me being like knowing the pop culture thing, okay, I know this is going to be a plug for Guardians at some point because he's in it. So the original plan, he was supposed to go to WrestleMania, which is, for those who don't know, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling, and he's supposed to fight for the belt, and the crowd didn't really care for him because like, oh, you left wrestling, you're not like a real wrestler because you don't care about stuff. So they picked up on Daniel Bryan, who is the fan favorite guy, an indie guy who made it big. So the crowd was just pushing Daniel Bryan. We want Daniel Bryan. So over and over and over. So we could have had Dave Bautista standing on the red carpet of Guardians 1 with the WWE Championship, but that didn't happen because the fans weren't into it. So they went with
Daniel Bryan instead.
Nothing against the wrestlers and all how they
of course.
But it's like they went this way, and it's like, okay, we could have had that.
That's happened a lot in history, those type of situations. I mean, WrestleMania 17. Okay. The crowd made The Rock a heel again and made Hogan a good guy again. You know, when
that was weird having half the crowd fight for Rocky and half the crowd fighting for Hogan. Yeah, that was a bizarre.
Was something else.
Yeah. They were almost. It was almost like they were both baby faces in that particular match, and it was a very weird dynamic.
That was my second WrestleMania that I ever watched, and I didn't understand the significance of all of that.
Yeah.
So now, as I can look back now, because you have the WWE Network, which is just Netflix for wrestling. So
yeah,
you can
basically,
watch all the old stuff, and I'm like, oh, so this goes into this. So you fill in all the blanks. Like
it was pretty surreal. Like as a guy that watched wrestling way back in the day, like I remember WrestleMania 3, Hogan versus Andre, and all that kind of like all that nostalgia stuff. I remember watching that as it happened, type of thing. We had a cheater box at home. I was there live. Yeah, there you go. Robbie was there live for that. Yeah.
I was at the show. I was there live as well.
Friends were there too.
Very, very surreal moment. Like one that you could tell they could not predict because Hogan was there as his Hollywood Hogan NWO persona, but the fans just didn't care. But Rocky was such a huge babyface at the time. Same thing. Like the fans were just so divided. And at one point, they're just standing in the ring looking at each other, and they just keep looking at the crowd, and the crowd is shifting between chanting for Hogan and chanting for The Rock. And you're just like, this is the weirdest moment in wrestling, other than the gobbledygooker, that I've ever seen in my entire life. This is so bizarre. Oh, there's Jordan joining the. How do I boot somebody out of the Instagram live? Because Jordan's not welcome here because he made fun of my mustache, and I will not have it.
Pentakill will be nice.
Yes, Jordan's a friend of the podcast for sure. He usually joins us late.
He's a good dude. I've had a couple chats.
He is a very good dude. Yes,
Wayne's just joined
very
us
talented
as well.
Too. Yep, on both his accounts because he's
both accounts,
pimp,
which
like,
is always
he's
funny,
pimp like that.
Yeah,
double teaming it, baby. Yeah. Jordan, wait till the next time I see you. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna rip that mole right off your face and chop it up and make some guacamole.
Hey, listen, before we get too aggressive and violent and graphic here, have you been up on Obi-Wan?
Me, no, I have not. On my list. I have a very long list of shows. It's very long.
Boot him.
You know, how are you going to come on a geek podcast and not?
This guy.
You're not up to Obi-Wan. God, my God, what are you doing?
I'm done bringing guests on this show.
What are you doing?
Okay,
listen.
Being the talent coordinator.
I have a big problem with this show. So first of all, I'm going to say it right off the bat. So far, I'm loving the show. But I hate that we have not gotten one piece of traditional Star Wars music in the show. No Imperial March. No, like nothing. None of the music in the show is traditional Star Wars music. And
it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's a little bit bizarre. I've seen some recuts. It doesn't
feel like Star Wars.
No, I've seen some recuts on YouTube. Someone just recut the scene where Vader comes in and grabs Reva by the throat and picks her up, and they put the Imperial March to it, the one specific from Rogue One, and it works perfectly. And you're just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
like if you're going to bring these characters back, then why wouldn't you have their iconic themes with them? You own the stuff, you own all the music. Now, did you guys see the announcement from Taika Waititi saying that for the next Star Wars movie project is his project, and he's moving away from all the established canon? He's going to explore something completely different Star Wars wise, which is, I think we've talked about before.
I'm okay with that
on the podcast, not having to rehash all the stuff and getting handcuffed by canon and all the stuff that Obi-Wan's basically getting shit for, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with moving away from canon as long as it's still Star Wars, right? For me, Star Wars means a couple of things, right? There's a look and feel. There's Sith and Jedi. There's the Empire to a certain degree. It wasn't always the Empire because, there was no Empire at first. But there are certain things to me that resonate with Star Wars. If you're doing something completely different, that's completely into left field, that doesn't have Star Wars music, that doesn't have the Star Wars characters or blah, 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 then how is it Star Wars?
Right.
That's my thing, right? So I'm cool with doing something else, but it still needs to be Star Wars.
So it needs to be grounded in the Star Wars universe. I agree. You just don't have to keep beating those dead horses with all the different legacy characters that now we've gotten sort of done to death at this point, right? Between all the different movies, the prequels, the animated shows, the sequels, let's take a break from all of that and see if we can get to a point where we're getting some new stories set in the same universe, but with new characters that we can then come to grow and enjoy, and that aren't Rey and Poe and Finn. And
we don't have to constantly stay in the little bits of 50 years, 60 years, or whatever it is. There's hundreds or thousands of years of stories that you could do, especially in the past. So
yep.
I hope that's where Taika goes.
Apparently that's the news report coming out of Hollywood. So.
Give us some fucking Old Republic.
Janeth says he's going full bisexual with the Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't care about that stuff. Just give me some Old Republic shit.
Give me some Old Republic shit. I don't care what it is. Like you said, man, it's like you said, as long as it has the look and feel. I want it to be dirty and dingy. I don't want it to be over technical. I don't want it to get too Star Trek-y. I want it to remain Star Wars-y.
Lens flares everywhere.
Yeah. And I'm glad they got off Tatooine. Yeah, absolutely. Not everything has to take place on Tatooine. Let's.
Well, you guys remember how in the original trilogy, especially in Episode 1, where they go to Naboo and everything is so super clean and shiny and lens flares and green and then everybody was like, "What the is this? This is not Star Wars, right?"
So apparently, from what I understand, is the further back. I guess they're going to be doing that with the High Republic too. The further back you go, the shinier and newer and crisper and cleaner things look in the Star Wars universe. So I get the sense that a lot of this technology was created millennia ago and it's just aging its way through. That's why everything now looks dirty and dusty and rusty and barely kind of pieced together, hung together, because they don't have the technology anymore to do this. Not everything is all streamlined.
Well, I feel like what the prequel trilogy has done is shown us that the further into the Republic you go, the more advanced and the cleaner it is. Right? The further away you get to the Outer Rim, the more it's just deserts and people with nothing, right?
From big city, you're going in the farmland.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So...
Well, that's what Mike's saying, right? He's just like, just tell a good story. How's that? It's not that hard.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it's that hard, but more people miss than hit. Story's tough, man. Especially just not to get... I thought The Force Awakens told a great story, but then everybody was like, oh, it's just like A New Hope. Yeah, and The New Hope was a great story too. So you can tell a great story, but you still have to have a certain level of uniqueness to it, and there's only so many different stories, permutations of stories out there. So I think it's harder than you think it is to come up with a good story. I couldn't write a good Star Wars story. I don't have the first clue.
See, the advantage that Disney has is they've got thousands of fucking books and video games and comic books and all sorts of stuff that they can adapt.
Mm-hmm.
They choose not to.
And they choose not to.
Yeah.
They choose to subvert your expectations instead.
Yeah. Because I know my book people would have loved to have seen the Thrawn trilogy on the screen as the sequels, and that's not what we got. So every now and then, and now they've tossed all that out, right? All the legacy stuff, all the expanded universe stuff is all now legacy stuff. It's not canon anymore. So not that they couldn't take elements from that, like they did with Thrawn himself and put him on Rebels, and now it looks like he's going to be in Ahsoka or Mandalorian or whatever. So
I was going to say, isn't he coming to a show? So there we go.
He is, but only because they introduced him through Rebels, one of the animated shows first. They didn't pull him directly from the books. I haven't seen Rebels, so I don't know how closely his character on the show is like his character was in the books. I know physically he looks the same, but I don't know if it's the same type of character. But
he is. He's very much, from what I understand, in Rebels, the same type of character as he is in the book. Yeah. He's very much the same character. Benedict Cumberbatch.
With Thrawn. The Empire comes. Oh yeah, no, that would be genius. And they already kind of own him, right? Because it's Disney, so they own everything. Tanith is saying it makes sense. With the Empire becomes poverty. That's actually, you know what? We could debate that. Marianne says the galaxy is vast and has so many different regions, sectors, and rims. Rims. Mike is saying we moved away from good storytelling, more concerned with checking boxes. I'm not going to touch that one. And then Marianne.
He's not wrong. Similar. I mean, in a lot of cases, whether that's the intent or not, that's how a lot of times how it feels or how it comes across. You know,
sure.
When what you're marketing is the check boxes instead of the story.
Rims.
It sounds like you're more concerned about the check boxes than the story. But
listen, you guys are getting super political, and Marianne and I are just laughing about rim jobs. So you guys are
getting political. What are you talking about?
Laugh about rim jobs.
How can you not laugh about rim jobs? Come on, man. That's why we're here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If we're nothing, if we're not at least a little bit ignorant anyway. We try to keep it at least sort of PG-13, but we've already dropped a couple F-bombs on this, so it's fine.
Keep it 100.
Yes, that's right. Keep it 100.
There's a comment that says Windsor is the outer rim of Ontario, and I've been to Windsor, and sorry.
I don't know if I have you been to Chatham? Wait a minute. Have you been to Welland? Because if you've been to Welland,
20 minutes to Welland.
Welland is kind of at least at the armpit of the outer rim. Because woo, man, alive, that is.
Yep.
Sir, where are you located, Sam? Again,
Niagara Falls ish. So it's like here's cameras.
So what town?
Cameras are fun. I'm in Thorold. So Niagara Falls is like here, Welland is here, Thorold is here. So I'm like in the middle. I'm 20 minutes to anywhere, as I put it, for Niagara.
Or I'll get started and won't stop. Yes, we are about the rim jobs, dude. It's an open forum, my friend. You go right ahead, knock yourself out.
Oh my!
Yes.
Yeah, Michael's like, stop. Crazy Mike's like, yeah, please stop.
Nope. Rim jobs all day. It's fine. I'd like to point out it's Marianne that brought up the rims. So, and she wasn't talking about the ones in her car. If you know what I'm saying.
See what you did?
Yes, Michael. Let's start rim jobs.
This is
How is this my fault? I'm just reading the comments, sir. I don't know.
I'm talking to Marianne. That's all her fault.
Jeff, look what you did.
See, that's what Megan said. Your checked box is someone else being able to see their perspective on screen. I did see a really good, just as a minor segue, I did see a really good video today about representation, and it was the actress that played, I believe the character's name was Mercati, based on Mercury from Eternals. So in Eternals, the character was deaf, and so they got a deaf woman to play that character, like a real-life deaf woman. So they showed her at a con, and how many deaf people came up to see her and get pictures with her, and they're just signing back and forth using ASN or ASL, and that representation is so key to so many different deaf people. It's like Hemmer on Strange New Worlds. They needed a blind character, so they hired a blind guy because why wouldn't you if you need a blind character? So yeah, I see what Megan is saying. That representation, and we talked about it with Tim too in our diversity talk. Representation is still key. Like I get what you guys are saying about checking boxes and such, but it is nice for people that have classically not been able to see representations of what they are on screen, and now they're finally getting to see that. I think that's important, not just from a checkbox perspective, but at least people are now feeling included, and they've got someone on screen that they can relate to better.
100%.
Before they didn't really have that, right? So
100%.
Yeah. But I do get what sort of both sides. Yes, Megan, absolutely.
But when every article about, now this was not the case, but if every article about Eternals is Eternals cast, blind actor or deaf actor, if that's how every article starts, and if that's how every promotion starts, at one point it's like, okay, but is that what the movie's about?
Right.
We hired a deaf actor. That's what the movie's about hiring a deaf. No, it's not. It's about the Eternals. Yes. Right. That's I think is I think the point that is it Mike?
I think Mike started this conversation. It was Mike. Yes, with the check boxes. Yeah, of course it was Mike. Who else would start a conversation on this line but Mike? Come on.
Yeah, I think that's the point Mike was trying to make, right? And it's representation is 100% fine. And
let's not ask Mike the point he was trying to make because we'll be here all night. Yeah. Yeah, we'll hit a wall on this, pretty sure. As far as projects go, so you gave us your upcoming cosplay projects. I know the one thing that you do enjoy doing, Pam, that we've not kind of touched on is the photography side of things. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Do you do mostly cosplay photography? Are you more portrait photography? Are you someone that's doing stuff in the field? Like, what's your expertise and what do you like to shoot?
Yeah, sure. So my background is I went to college for a bunch of things, but I finished up with started in accounting, finished accounting, transferred to journalism, two completely opposite sides of the brain. Journalism. In my journalism program, everyone was scared to approach people to take their photo for like whatever the article was about. So I'm like, you're just asking them for their picture. Like, it's not that hard. So I did it, and my one prof was like, "You're pretty good at the photo thing. You should." When this wraps up, you should go to the photo program. So I did that. So I fell into it that way, and I've been shooting for about 12 years now, or 11 and a half, because 2022 is not over. So I kind of market myself as people, products, sports. So I do headshots, and I do like advertising pictures. So like if you're selling, whatever you're selling for your Etsy or whatever, I do the pictures for that. And sports, because I got into wrestling. I was the varsity photographer for Niagara College for 6 years or however long I was there, my various programs. So I did all the basketball, volleyball, golf, whatever sports they had. So that's my
of course.
So I'm doing headshots a lot. Before COVID, I was doing just headshots. So I'm trying to get that going again.
For aspiring actors type of thing, or is that what you mean? Yeah. So how do people get in touch? Yeah, for portfolios. So how do people get in touch with you for if I want headshots? How do I get a hold of Sam Cino to take my picture for headshots? How does that work? Do you have your own studio? Do you rent out studio space? What's involved?
I usually set up. So if it's corporate things, I go to their office. So I did one financial institution in Southern Ontario. I went to all their offices and photographed all the people there, just because that was easier for them. Our family's in the process of building a garage, so that's going to be like my little studio space in there once we get that wrapped up. Nice. So that'd be cool.
Yep. So, and then how would they get a hold of you if they wanted to get headshots or they wanted to engage your photography services?
My website is cinophoto.com. So Cino, FOTO.com. They go there. Nice. Or they can just message me on my various social things that I have. I got a bunch. So I got cinocreative is my hobby one. At cinophoto is my photography portfolio. And me on Facebook. Just find me. You'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that way they can see your work too. And that. So cinophoto with the F?
Yeah. FOTO.
FOTO. Cool. Awesome. Yeah.
Very,
might be contacting you for some,
very European.
Might be contacting you for some headshots. You could use some myself. So I don't have any really good headshots yet. So maybe we'll.
All right, man. You let me know.
Of course, man.
Have you have you done any cosplay photography at all?
Have I? Just myself, I guess. Just with
I don't remember ever seeing you shoot any cosplay at a con, and it always made me wonder that you were into photography. What is it about that just doesn't have any appeal to you?
I'm meandering that way. I just haven't done any of it. It's on the radar of something to do. Like I have some projects coming up with some people here. We're going to do like a Fallout shoot. I just need to actually get the date and like get it going.
Because you're there.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're there at the cons. Like it would seem like a natural sort of progression. I know there's a ton of photographers that come out to the cons, don't get me wrong, but still it would seem like a natural progression for you for sure.
Yeah, it's on the radar. Just I have not jumped at it yet.
That's fair. It's only been 12 years. You got lots of time.
Cosplay is new. Cosplay is new.
Cosplay is new. That's true.
Headshots is trending in the chat.
Yeah, of course, headshots is trending in the chat. Have you met our chat? Yeah, there's 14 people in there, and that's all they're talking about is headshots.
Oh my!
I don't think that.
No, what they're talking about is rim
Michael.
jobs, not headshots. But
it was rim jobs. Now it's headshots, and it's just going to progress from here. Like it's all the wheels are off.
It's escalated.
It always does when we're doing this because
there are no wheels on this bus, bud.
This is our base. This is why we go live on Instagram. This is who we've got. Marianne, Michael, and Loki Quinn are just off on a. Yeah, they're off on a tangent.
Headshots.
Yeah, I think they're all. And there's Ice Cavoy. Yeah. Bring it out, guys. Get it all out of your system now. Yeah, rim shots. Oh, well done, Jordan. Way to bring those two things together. Way to marry those two things up.
Rim shots. Well, there you go.
Rim shots. I think that's a drumming thing, isn't that? Isn't that a?
It is actually. You're right.
Yeah.
It is a drumming thing.
Tile 0 on the little pink phone. Time to feed the rat on my face some liquid.
Yes. Are you off
That's a
tomorrow?
thirsty rat.
Oh, you are. That's
Not-
right. You're still
not
off
that.
because you're still testing
I'm-
positive. That's right.
I'm probably going to be off for a while. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not great. So I did talk to work today actually. So we're going to be exploring some short-term disability options or whatever while I'm still going through whatever the hell this whole fatigue, dizziness, fainting thing's going on. So
I mean, are you a permanent employee?
I am. Yeah, and union.
You guys
too,
have some
pensions.
sort and union. Okay, so
yeah,
I'm sure you have some sort of a short-term.
there is. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got to talk
Good
to my doctor
thing,
tomorrow.
at least that
and-
it's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne. Actually loving the Omni-Man look, bro. See, Wayne's got my back too.
Mhm,
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I
Yeah,
didn't
this
even
would be a
think about that.
perfect
I should
time.
take some-
exactly. Perfect
Should
time
take
to
some shots
pictures.
as Omni-Man for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good call, guys. That's a good
Yeah,
call.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah, for sure.
And you need yourself some sort of a green screen or something when you take
Yeah, I
pictures,
know.
so you can do cool
it's
edits
so-
and backgrounds and
I don't have the patience
know,
for
think.
that.
Jeff, think.
So good. Smash the
Smash
stash.
the stash. Wow. Okay, that's the new.
that's
That's
the
the
new
new
hashtag right
trending
there.
hashtag, guys.
That's-
If
I'm gonna
you want
tag
Jeff to
everything.
either lose or keep the stash,
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't
hashtag
matter.
smash the stash.
Yeah,
everywhere.
it doesn't matter what you guys want because it's staying anyways. At least until the next time I have to get rid of it for a cosplay. Because, yeah, I love it. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I
For my
love it.
Johnny Ringo, I got to get rid of this and just have that.
Yeah, just the handlebars.
Yeah.
The handlebars and the
So that'll
Johnny
be fun.
Ringo. Yeah, dude. It's what we suffer for cosplay. And I never try to tell anybody how to do their cosplays. Don't get me wrong, but especially if you can already grow facial hair really well, and then you'll see somebody that's doing a character that typically doesn't have facial hair, but they still have the full beard, and you're just you could regrow that in 2 weeks. It's okay for you to but I mean, again, I'm not trying to shame anybody. Cosplay any way you want, but it's just weird sometimes that people won't make that individual choice. Hashtag.
Oh,
I'm not reading that out loud.
No,
I'm not reading that out loud. No, it's
Tanith.
all off.
Tanith.
I know.
Tanith. Whew.
Too much.
Tans, we're going to reveal some spoilers about a show that you want to watch, so you're going to have to go. I don't know what show that is yet. You're gonna have to
Jeff,
leave.
she will find you. She will come to your house. She'll
Oh, I know.
Oh my god.
I know. Yeah.
Then I have to go arrest her again. Please don't. You're
Yes.
making- you're making more work for me.
I'm sure she hates it when you guys arrest her. That's absolutely her worst thing. Also, thanks everyone for being great dinner dates for me tonight. Jordan, absolutely. Me and the rat are happy to be here for you, my friend. No problem at all.
Yeah,
Peace.
Sam, you know what? Thank you very, very much for coming on tonight, eh? That's amazing of you to come and join us and talk a little bit about yourself and we're definitely going to have you on again. Hopefully we get to actually see you at Fan Expo.
Absolutely.
So we can
Thank you for
actually
having me.
get to meet in person.
For sure.
And let me use this as a reminder to all of you. Do you know how Sam's on the program today? Because Sam reached out to me and asked if he could be on the program today. So every week I say to you guys, if you'd like to be on the program, it's not that hard. Just reach out to me or JS, and we're happy to have you on as a guest. Okay. If you've got a topic that you want to talk about, that's even better. That gives us some direction on where you want to go with the episode. Hopefully it's enough to fill about an hour, but reach out, man. It's not the dual setup is about the only challenging thing, as you saw Sam dealing with earlier. It's about the only challenging thing we have. Once we're past that, we're super good. So send one of us a message and we're happy to have you guys on. Even if you've been on before, just throw us a message and we'll have you back on. Not a problem at all.
I think it goes without saying if you have a specific topic you want to talk about
it's even
with
better.
us, it's even better.
100%. Yeah.
Unless
Unless you're Tanith, then you don't get to be on anymore because you're
Reasons.
we can't trust you anymore on the program. So
Oh my.
yes. By the way, yes, illegal alien cosplay. I am current on both the Orville and the Boys. I have watched. I'm current on both. The Orville is running concurrently with Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, so they both come out on the same day. So I watched them both when they come out. So I watched both episodes today. So the Orville is it's something. It's the third season something.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's nowhere as good as
It's
the first and second season.
they've made a major shift in the narrative, and I don't really know why. And so far it's not really working. And it's a shortened season. It's only 10 episodes, and we're 3 episodes in. So it's I'm hoping there's a change. I'm hoping we get back.
From what I understand, it's no longer a Fox product, right? I mean, it's
on Hulu now.
Yeah, it's a Disney product now, basically, right? So,
but they've basically excised almost all the humor out of it, and now it's just a straight up sci-fi show. Like it's a sci-fi action show.
Just straight up.
Interesting.
Star Trek ripoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I mean, it always was, but it at least had a good comedy twist to it, right?
That's right.
That was the good thing about season 1 and 2 is it was actually funny.
Yeah, and character-based comedy too, not just all like pratfalls and sight gags, but like good character building. So yeah, all that's gone, and I don't know why it's such a weird choice thematically, but they've definitely upped the budget. The effects look great, and the makeup looks amazing. And the show is now an hour long because it's not a network show anymore, so there's no commercial breaks. So you get a full hour every episode.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool, but at the same time, with all the humor gone out of it, it's kind of like the hours become a bit of a slog now because it's kind of like especially if you don't like buy into whatever the storyline is, you don't have the humor to kind of break it up and get you there. But hey, man, maybe you'll like it. Give it a shot. I'm not saying don't watch it, but it's definitely a different experience than the first 2 seasons.
I feel like especially season 1, did it in a very similar manner that actually Lower Decks does it, where they would take a little piece of Trek trivia and they would build a story around it, right? They would take a Trek, Orville would take a Trek theme, where in Lower Decks they actually take a piece of Trek trivia and blow it up into a whole show. But the Orville did a great job of taking a Trek theme and then turning it into a funny episode, right? And I guess
I was just on a podcast 2 days ago called Orville, which is like an Orville after show or whatever. So with our friend Jolie and that crew and talking with Michael, the guy that hosts that podcast, initially that's what he said. He said, "Why were you hesitant to watch it in the first place? Or were you just not a Seth MacFarlane fan?" And my reasoning was similar to Tim's, is I didn't want it to be like a spit in the eye of Star Trek, like a straight up making fun parody of Star Trek. And then when you start watching it, you realize, oh, this is like a love letter to Star Trek more than anything else.
Yeah.
An homage. Like you can tell how much Seth MacFarlane loves Star Trek, and that's what he's kind of fueled in here. And that's why, again, this 3rd season's weird, because now it's like now he's just trying to redo Star Trek without that same sort of love letter too, right? Without those little winks and nudges to, we know we're a little tongue in cheek on this, but we're going to do it anyway. That's all gone. So it's a very bizarre choice.
Was he not on Voyager as well? Did he not have a cameo or something? Was he not on an episode? I think he was.
He might have.
I think.
Maybe. I know The Rock was.
The Rock was on Voyager. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was on something. I don't think he wasn't like a named character. I think he was like a background guy.
Well, maybe.
And you see him like standing and doing something, and
you
see his face, and that's why people.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan too was on Enterprise actually.
Really?
Full makeup. Yeah, in full alien makeup, and he said it was one of the worst experiences of his life.
Well, I'm sure it is, especially back in those days. People would always say the same thing, right? That
they got to sit in a chair for 8 hours or whatever.
Yeah, you're getting made up longer than you're actually filming.
Yep.
And you're filming like apparently like 12, 13, 14-hour days. So
oh yeah, for sure.
You know, those people are their sleep time is while they're in the chair getting made up, right?
Minimal.
That's the time they get to sleep. So yeah, it's a little bit messed up, but you know.
Studio Comics, hey, Alfonso, what's going on, buddy? I don't know if you've ever been on the podcast before. Good to see you. Studio Comics, independent comic shop out of Kitchener? No.
Yes.
Kitchener. Yeah. Great.
There
awesome.
was an event at the mall that he was in that I had gone to, so that's why. I know.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I don't know if I've been at one of the events in the mall too, so I did an Obi-Wan there with one of the KW, actually a couple of the KW girls were there with me, so that was a good time. Yeah, super cool dude.
Loki Queen Cosplay saying here, I'm only a perv in the comments. I'm totally professional as a guest.
Lies.
I don't. I mean, you know, we haven't gotten arrested yet, so.
Yet.
Or canceled.
Yet.
So, you know, I don't think she was that bad, you know, on the show.
He also does printing. Hey, buddy, thanks. No, of course, Alfonso, man. It's good to have you on. Good to see you. That's a cool. That would be a dude to have on too.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be a great guest to have on for sure. So we'll be in touch.
For sure, because the comic book industry's been very up and down. Well, more down than up these days, I suppose. But
he's more on the independent side, so
it
would be cool to get his perspectives on it. So for sure.
Yes.
You want to start?
Yes.
I'll be back. My phone is ringing. I'll bet it is. Do you want to start wrapping her up here, my friend?
We got to get it going. Yeah, an hour 15 in. You got to end this up here. But again, Sam, thank you so much for coming on. You're going to have to come back sometime, bud. It's super nice meeting you. Like I said, I hope I get to meet you at Comic-Con. No, not at Comic-Con. Fan Expo. Were you at Comic-Con?
The Niagara Falls one just went by. Yeah.
No, Toronto Comic-Con.
Not the one that just happened.
So you weren't there this year?
No, not this year.
Yeah.
Before
the one that's happened before the last Comic-Con was before.
Yeah. Or your buddy and mine, COVID.
Yeah, before COVID.
This bullshit.
Yeah. So thanks again, my friend. Everybody watching us live here on Instagram and on YouTube. We've actually had a couple people coming in and out on YouTube. Really appreciate you guys sticking with us. It's always awesome. The comments, the interaction. That's why I do this. This is more. The interaction with the people is more fun than doing the podcast itself. So thanks for sticking with us. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you leave us a like and a comment below. Let us know what you thought about the episode, and if you have any suggestions of what you want the next episode to be, make sure you let us know. I think that will be, and subscribe. Very, very important. Subscribe to the channel.
Helps us enormously when you guys subscribe to the channel. So
it really helps propagate it through the YouTube realm and the algorithm, which is very hard to beat these days. But
the magic math.
The magic math, except there is no real math to it. Let's be honest. It's black just magic is what it is.
Switches,
exactly. Yep. I do think that will be it, though. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay geeky. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
And